Go to robseco.com and find your local direct sales representative.
'Cause I'm the son of a third-generation farmer. I've been married 10 years to the farmer's dog.
Good morning in Barnesville. Good morning in Bowman, home of the Bulldogs. Thank you for making KFGO number one in the morning, number one all day long. The KFGO Morning Crew, Doug Leier, Amistadi, getting your Monday set for you.
Yeah, we like to spend Monday mornings around 6:40 talking consumer issues. KFGO Farm and Ranch reporter Sam Halstengard joining us this morning. Good morning to you, Sam.
Good morning, guys. How are you? It's been a while.
Good. Been doing a little holiday baking. How about you? You get any baking done yet?
Of course.
Do you?
I've had my sugar cookies baked since last week. I just need to make some frosting so I can finish them off.
I was going to say, how many of them have been eaten already?
Probably could make another batch here.
That's what I'm thinking, too. I always save the broken ones, put those on a plate, put the rest in the freezer. And I need to do the same as you, do some frosting. But, yeah, you can never have enough sugar cookies, can you?
You have to quality test them before you, make them and, send some to your family or whatever you do. So you got to make sure they taste good.
Let's be honest. Is sugar cookie dough better than chocolate chip cookie dough?
100%.
I think so.
You guys eat raw cookie dough? You're not supposed to eat raw
I
cookie
try to as
dough.
often as I can.
Sam, you eat raw cookie dough?
Not admittedly, no.
There's raw eggs in there, people. Stop eating
But
raw cookie dough.
Have you guys seen that Pillsbury? Actually, there, that dough that you buy, you're not supposed to eat raw. It's now safe to eat raw.
Oh,
so.
Good. Yeah, I know there is some that's made that you can eat raw, but not the stuff you're making at home with raw eggs.
Yeah.
I know. Sarah Heinrich is like, have you ever gotten sick of it? I'm like, no, but I'm not taking chances. Well, so I was doing some shopping this weekend and getting stocked up on all these baking supplies, butter, flour, sugar, eggs, almond bark. I noticed almond bark a few weeks ago, and it was ridiculous. Mm-hmm. It was close to $4 for a pound of it. I scored some the other day, and it was 2 for $5. So to me, that seems really reasonable.
Yeah, and that's probably at those local stores, those Hornbachers, those Cashwise that have more of those deals around this time of year where it's because I noticed our local store too had 2 for $5, and that was for I think a 20 or 24 ounce of that almond bark. Where if you go to Target or Walmart, it's kind of in that $3-4 range for about a pound of it.
Yeah, and I would say, $2.50 or whatever. That sounds reasonable, no?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And, that thing about, I don't know, this happens at my mom's house where, you find that almond bark from maybe last year. So you might still have it in your cupboard and you might not even have to go, buy any more for this year.
I want to ask you, Sam, and then Bonnie as well, do the price of baking goods make you bake something different, not almond bark, or do they make you bake less, Sam?
I would say no. I don't know. I feel like I just bake with whatever I have on hand. I don't feel like I have almond bark on hand, and I don't know. Maybe if I was looking or someone requested I make something with almond bark, I would kind of turn my nose up a little bit at a higher price. But I feel like when you bake, you have that butter, that flour, that sugar already on hand. So you're just using what you already have.
And I watch for it to go on sale. It wouldn't stop me either. But like I said, when I saw it for close to $4 a few weeks ago, I'm like, that's not happening. But when it dropped, $2.50, 2 for $5, then I was on board. Here's another thing I noticed when I was at the store. One brand name butter, and I'm not going to name the name, but it was listed for $4.67 a pound, whereas the store butter was $1.88 a pound. A huge price difference. $4.67 to $1.88. And so I bought 3 of the $1.88. I mean, is there a big variance in butter?
I noticed that too. Especially going from those bigger stores to your local grocery store, that they have maybe the cheaper generic brand butter, but it's honestly the same exact thing that you're buying for $3 more for the name brand.
That's what I was going to ask.
I noticed that.
What was that? That's what I was going to say. I've tried different brands of butter, and I don't notice any quality issue or any difference in the butter.
And then, I noticed that at our local store too, is that that generic is cheaper. It's like you said, $1.88 to $2 for 1 pound, or 2 for $5 for a couple pounds of butter.
Sam Halstengard joining us on the KFGO Morning Crew, talking about the consumer issues and prices for baking goods. There are any other ones that have jumped out at you?
I am a big in bulk. I guess not like prices that shocked me, but maybe a little tip when you are going into the baking season is buying more in bulk. So at those Sam's Club, at those Costco's, they have more of those, bulk goods. You can get a whole big 25-pound bag of locally made flour at Dakota Made for $9. And so every time I bake, I dredge out my huge 25-pound bag of flour. And so like those things you can always get in bulk, and they will, last you a really long time.
And there's something to be said for supporting locally or regionally grown products. The crystal sugar would be another big one.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly. And so, and like the stores know that people are, at home and baking more. And so I feel like in the next couple of weeks, we'll probably see more sales on those baking items, like that almond bark, like those powdered sugars, like those regular sugars, flour, butter. They know that people are in their house trying new things with their family to make the most of this time.
You bet. Keep your eyes open for those sales because, when I was shopping over the weekend, they were definitely already here. One thing I noticed that's pretty expensive, but I don't know if you're going to find a great deal. Doug, too, you buy a lot of nuts in your house versus, whatever kind of nuts you're eating, peanuts, almonds, walnuts.
Yep.
Nuts are expensive in general. I noticed for a pound bag, they were down to like $9 from $9.50, but that is pricey. I don't know if we'll see nuts go down a whole lot more.
And that is something that you can bake more with, too. So I don't really eat nuts, and I don't really bake with them or anything like that. So that's not something that's usually on my grocery list, but I know like my parents do. And so those are always very expensive, and you do buy them in, the big bulk. When you go to like Target and stuff, you buy them in the big jugs because they're cheaper that way, but they're still really expensive.
Yeah. And certain things I have to have the brand name, and other things I'm not as persnickety about. I have bought, say, off-brand almond bark. There's a couple of top brands you can buy. You can buy an off-brand. I don't think it's as good. I bought some off-brand brown sugar. That seemed to be okay, in Caro syrup. But chocolate chips, sometimes the off-brands aren't as good. Some of the off-brands. I shouldn't say all of them. But, yeah, so if you're real persnickety about things tasting really good, you might want to stick to some of those key ingredients, being a name brand that you trust, I guess.
Yeah, that is true, especially when you're baking. You want everything to turn out really well because you're making a lot of it. You're not just making, 1, 2, 3 cookies or whatever. You're making a couple dozen of everything, and you like what you like. So.
Yeah, and somebody also texting into the 702 Communications Text Club, they haven't noticed much of a difference in the butter either, which we brought up. And somebody thinking that all crystal sugar is the sugar around here unless it says cane sugar on the package. So thanks for the text messages. Sam, thanks for your time this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you. We'll talk to you guys later. You guys have a good rest of your Monday.
Yep, you too. We'll catch her again at 7:25. That's KFGO Farm and Ranch reporter Sam Halstengard joining us here on the